And 404 not found. Hari will be right
Yep,
back.
I'm back. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
all right. Well, Hari's back, and man, I thought we were going to be taking a little bit of break because
Me
one of the
too.
players said he needed to go AFK, but apparently not too long. And right off the bat, we're going to see Replika banning out Darkseer and Shadow Demon, two of the heroes that they picked up last game. And this time it's going to be 404 going to be banning out the Invoker. And man, that was a very strong showing from this team. 404 not found. I think I only recognized one or two of the names. And other than that, there's really a team that I've never seen before. And it was a very convincing showing. I thought their lanes were a little bit iffy, and overall, they did much better than I expected.
Yeah, it wasn't so much their lanes. I think it was just they had really good movement and good coordination. They were in the right places at the right times after the initial laning phase, and yeah, it worked well. At the same time, yeah, it looks like Replica, their strategy at this point is to ban the heroes that they want to pick so that they can't pick them. It's kind of like preventing yourself from shooting yourself in the foot, I guess. And and they're going to first pick the Windrunner, which is obviously a quite imbalanced hero just because of how ridiculous the Shackle Shot is. Later in the game, being basically a 7-second disable is pretty ridiculous. And the fact that in Dota 2, it seems to latch at slightly wider angles than it probably should. But at the same time, we're going to see Tide, who I think was banned in the first game as well. I'm not 100% on that one, but I believe so.
Yes, he was.
So that's going to be that huge team fight presence, which can really be game-breaking until heroes get BKBs. It's going to make it quite difficult for Replika to put together any sort of a push lineup, which is also going to be difficult since Leshrac is banned. However, Chen is still an option for either team at this point, so we'll see if they do decide to capitalize on that, or if both teams realize we don't actually need to ban this hero because our opponent isn't capable of playing it effectively.
Yeah, another hero that I see still left in the pool is Anti-Mage, and I know Anti-Mage has dropped out in popularity, and it's mainly because Shadow Demon is a great counter to him. Also, the meta game's changed a little bit, where there is a very small amount of time where you can just crush Anti-Mage so hard, and I don't know, it's just, I still see him in the pool, though, with the Shadow Demon being banned out. If 404 not found can pick him up as a third pick and ban out the counters to Anti-Mage, I think they would be in really good shape, especially with the team fight. They already have some great Tidehunter and Venomancer being picked up for their 1-2. Just some classic, really good laning and team fight heroes. I think Anti-Mage being picked up here would be really strong.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Obviously, one of the heroes who's very responsible for the disappearance of Anti-Mage has been the resurgence of Riki. And yeah, if they take the Anti-Mage third pick, they could easily ban the Riki out, which is maybe something Replica's considering right now. And yeah, because they have two, as you said, great team fight ultimates and good turtling heroes, which will lend itself well to an anti-mage game in which you want to farm. Usually going for the Battle Fury is just the more popular build, especially after the nerf to Vanguard. It's much less popular to pick up that Vanguard. Unless you really absolutely have to, because you don't get good enough farm. But I've seen even in games where the hero does, or I mean, I was watching, I think it's Gosu versus Quantic, and Link didn't get Battle Fury until 20 minutes, and it's still quite successful just because he was able to get the space to farm provided by his team, which I think 404's team's capable of providing. So we'll have to see what Replika decides to go here. But then again, if they go for the Chen or something like this, it's going to be quite difficult to justify an anti-mage pick, because the problem with anti-mage, again, is that you don't always have to kill the anti-mage. You can just kill the opposing structures, and then it doesn't really matter that the anti-mage is there hitting you. And actually, instead of Chen, it's going to be Enchantress. So that's unusual, given that Chen is still in the pool, but I guess maybe they're just more comfortable with their Enchantress play.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. I've been casting with Chappie, and I remember I kept hitting on it. I'm not a big fan of the Enchantress, but maybe Team Replika will be the guys to really turn my opinion around on Enchantress, and we're going to see the Shaker being picked up as well. And so now the question is, 4-4, they have, I mean, I don't think Replika really could have picked up the Anti-Mage if they wanted to, just because they could have been able to pick up the Riki on the opposite side for their third pick. But now 4-4, they have their final third pick, and they go straight into the bans. And really, in my opinion, that's the best time to pick up a hero like Anti-Mage. But we'll have to see if they go for some sort of hard carry here, or if maybe potentially they're just going to go for a more early game orientated lineup. They already have some great team fight, like I said, Tidehunter and Venomancer. And now we're going to see the Queen of Pain picked up. So we're not going to see her banned. She was in the first set of bans last time. She's going to be picked up in the first set of picks this time. And man, it's just crazy. She's just a again, so many heroes are just popping out of the woodwork that for so long we saw the same heroes over and over and over again, and then you would add in maybe one more. Like Invoker got out of the pool. Okay, here's another hero. Here's another hero. And all of a sudden, teams are moving out. They're picking Queen of Pain, Riki. They're just branching out all these different picks, and I really like it. Queen of Pain is definitely going to be a very strong laner. She does very well against a Windrunner. And so if they do match up those lanes, that's definitely going to be a win on Queen of Pain's part. The question is, can they put up some proper lanes here? What do you think of the current lineup, Ari?
Yeah, I think both lineups look good. The other thing about the Enchantress pick is that the Enchantress true damage is strong against Anti-Mage. It's kind of at least in the Chinese Dota, popular counter pick to Anti-Mage. So that kind of hedged their bets against that. Not just the fact that he can or she can push well early on, but then obviously being able to do that damage even later to the Anti-Mage. Oh, but they're going to ban the Anti-Mage anyway, so they do acknowledge the possibility, especially after 404 banned Riki, which would indicate that maybe they wanted to pick up the Anti-Mage with the counter out. But yeah, I don't know. I like both these lineups. I actually do, once again, well, I don't know if I would say once again, because I'm not sure if I liked 404's more last time or not, but this time I definitely think I like theirs a little bit more. They have so many teamfight abilities that it's going to be really difficult for Replika. Replika is really going to rely on getting good ganks, which is, I think, why 404 has opted to ban the Beastmaster. Taking that Hawk out of the equation makes it a lot more difficult for Replika to actually find 404 out of position and set up those ganks. So yeah, I don't know. Replika is going to have a lot on their plate to come back in this series, already down 1-0, and against such strong teamfight abilities, it's going to be difficult. I think I don't know, we'll see if they decide to put the Tide in a farming role top, or if they're going to maybe tri-lane him with the Venomancer and then get some sort of carry, which is probably, I guess, what Replika thinks that 404 wants to do with the Anti-Mage ban.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's Tidehunter being in a solo, not a solo, but a carry position where he has a babysitter and he's just farming away. I think it's just so strong, and being able to get early levels of Anchor Smash and Kraken Shell, and just being able to tank purely through Kraken Shell pretty much. Early on, if you get those early levels, you don't have to worry about getting any sort of tanking abilities. You just tanking items, you just are naturally, through your abilities, just naturally tanking. You're able to pick up items like Mana Boots, like Push Stick, like Blink Dagger, and just be both an initiator and a great teamfight hero who just is pretty much, unless you get targeted down, which is iffy for the other team to try and do. Unless you get targeted down, you're just going to be spamming Anchor Smash over and over, and it's a lot of damage over time. But it looks like we are going to see a Mirana being picked up, so potentially a nice little carry, and her already a nice little lane of Mirana, Earthshaker, and then Enchantress being the jungle. So very offensive lane right there. So the question is, what is 404 going to do about this? I mean, already you're talking about Enchantress, who's going to be able to push down towers relatively quickly early on in this lane, especially if they're able to pick up a kill or two with the Earthshaker Mirana combo, and then coming in behind with a creep. And then on top of that, they have a really strong suicide lane. And I really foresee that Replika has a very strong mid-game sort of push-esque lineup already. And they have the potential right now to go late game. So the question is, does 404 hedge their bets and try and push early and end the game quickly? Or do they try and match up with even team fight with a Tidehunter? Or do they go for a harder carry than Mirana and just hedge their bets on that? And just kind of sort of turtle and just wait. Mirana's going to get strong, but of course, if they pick a harder carry, that's only going to get stronger over time. So, picking up the Bat Rider, another hero which we hardly ever see lately. I have not seen a Bat Rider since weeks. Occasionally, a couple scrims, not really serious things, just, teams trying it out. I haven't seen it in an actual tournament game in weeks. What do you think, Harry?
Well, it's pretty popular. I think that if you were watching the G-Dota Masters or not G-Dota, I'm getting confused, the Dota Masters, when they were doing the Asian tournaments, it was a little bit more popular there. The Asians, not having, I guess, played Dota 2 as much, haven't realized that Bat Rider isn't exactly the same as he is in Dota 1. Not quite as good, just for some reason that people really can't quite put their finger on. Plus, after the buff to the way his stun works, where you can actually knock people back into the flames now a bit more effectively, is a more popular pickup. But yeah, I think as far as European or North American teams go, no one really plays this hero. hero. But I guess they're picking it. They know how strong a side lane solo the Windrunner is, and if you can match the Batrider up against the Windrunner, Batrider can really beat basically any side lane solo. Obviously, being able to stack Napalm just a couple times makes it so they essentially have to move out of the lane before the stacks wear off and before they can go back in. And I would guess from Replika's lineup, usually when you go a ranged carry like Mirana that is going to go in a tri-lane, you plan to go in within the aggressive tri-lane in your long lane, so that you're going to put the Earthshaker of Mirana with the Enchantress up top and the Dire Jungle, which means that the solo is going to be bottom. And I guess 404 imagine that they can actually match up maybe favorably against the solo with the Batrider. Even in the long lane, Batrider probably should still have the advantage, so I would guess maybe that's why. Although, who knows, maybe they still put him top and I'm completely wrong. But lastly is the Doom, so it is going to be Doom in the tri-lane, which is not necessarily a stronger late game than the Mirana and Death Prophet and Enchantress. So I guess, I don't know, they're going to look to gank and then end it kind of early?
Yeah, I mean, oh man, Doombringer. No, just both these teams pick out picks, which I have rarely seen. Death Prophet, of course, great hero, but all around just, I don't know, just hasn't been picked up a whole lot. And I'm actually a huge fan of Death Prophet. I personally really like her, and I wish some of the teams that I play for, I wish we would run her and try her out a little bit more often. But we don't see her a whole lot. And really just a lot of lockdown coming out from this 404 team. I mean, you've got both Batrider's Ultimate and a Doom being locked down. They can easily take out the squishy sort of semi-carries of Mirana and Death Prophet. They aren't really true carries, but they do a lot of damage, and they do have a lot of carry potential in the mid to late game. Death Prophet is able to push down towers very well, obviously, with her ultimate. And coupled with Enchantress, they could potentially take a lot of tier 1 towers out fairly early on. If they're able to hit any sort of gank, the tower's going to go down very, very quickly. 404 right now is grouping up 5 mana, just trying to see if they can pick off a hero. And they are going to be running the Mirana Earthshaker lane at bottom with the Enchantress in the jungle, so that's going to be a very hard lane for Queen of Pain. They have both very long range skills. Earthshaker coupled with Mirana Arrow, they can potentially lock down this Queen of Pain for at least good 3 seconds with a combination of their 2 skills. Having Enchantress come in with the creep as well, that could really hurt Queen of Pain. And
it's actually going to be the Batrider
bottom,
bottom because he has boots of speed, which means he's most likely going to
yeah. Which I forgot I was going to talk about having Queen of Pain middle, but Batrider though is going to have an equally hard time, if not harder. Though I mean, he does have boots. And it's not like a Suicide Lane Beastmaster. He's not as strong. He is a ranged hero, so that is helpful. And he does have Firefly, which does give him the ability to jump through trees. But still, at the same time, it's going to be a little tough for him. I mean, I know he has boots, but he's also a squishy hero than Beastmaster, and he's going to be able to get mobbed down by these couple of stuns if Enchantress comes in at the right time. Though unfortunately, the best thing is, though, that Earthshaker is not a ranged hero. He's not going to be able to harass Batrider out of lane early on, so it is going to take a couple levels until they're able to really gank him. Venomancer now going bottom with the haste, potentially going to catch this Enchantress out while she's in the jungle, and Windrunner has completely abandoned top. Right now, she's just in the jungle, and I'm not really sure what she's doing. I mean, she's planning on taking Ursa? She didn't stack there, so I have no idea what's going on with this Replika team right now. I mean, she's pulling, which, I don't know, is that legal in this tournament? I mean, I've heard differing things about both pulling the Ancients and pulling that creep camp in particular.
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about it being illegal. Looks like a lot of these trees were just burned down by the Batrider while he was Firefly, so I think it looked like he might have been considering to pull the Ancients as well, what you were talking about. But yeah, I guess the Windrunner just decided, that initially at least there's no way the creeps are going to be near her tower, so she might as well try to go get some experience from pulling that camp. But she failed with the pull and then decided, okay, well, this isn't going to work, so I'm just going to head back top and play the waiting game. Meanwhile, Batrider is having more luck because, as you said, it's not really possible for the Earthshaker to harass him out of lane. And unfortunately for the Radiant, the lane is pushed a little bit, so there's no way the Enchantress can come in and get a gank. And then actually she's opting to kill this pull camp rather than pulling it. Especially with the lane the way it is right now, I would think normally with an Enchantress you would pull right here. And then, you get a double stack of the creeps. Maybe she will still pull The idea being obviously to stack up 2 creep waves at the same time. Normally this is why you would want to stack the pull camp before pulling, but usually with a push hero like Enchantress, you might pull before stacking, so that, like I said, you can get a double wave of creeps coming, and then come out with 2 creeps from the Enchantress and just take that tower. But I guess maybe they're a little bit afraid of trying to do this against the Batrider with Firefly. Obviously it's very difficult to push against Firefly. Firefly, not a great anti-push ability later in the game, but early on when you're trying to take lanes like this, it's pretty effective, because with all those creeps trying to walk through the fire, you're going to have difficulty. And interestingly enough, he's actually opted to skill Flame Break level 2. Normally the ability we're going to see if Batrider maxing is Sticky Napalm, but I guess he has just decided that he doesn't have any opportunity to use Sticky Napalm in this lane, so maybe he won't be getting it until 3, 4, 5. We'll have to see. But I don't know. The strongest thing about Batrider is definitely his laning ability. After that, I mean, his ganking ability is nice, but that requires him to have a good laning phase, and as is, he's definitely not having that. So I don't know so much about the sacrifice Batrider. I think maybe they expected, like I thought, that the Windrunner would be bottom, but since that didn't pan out, it's not really working out too well for him. He's actually maxing Flame Break, so I guess maybe this is just some sort of an anti-push strategy, expecting the Enchantress down there as well. I don't really know.
Yeah, that is really interesting. I mean, Flame Break is a nice little skill to be able to help you, especially if he's going to be able to gank. It might give him the opportunity to get out. But like you said, I mean, personally, I expected to have their Mirana Earthshaker lane bottom, just because it's much easier with Enchantress. She's already smoked up with, I'm just all kinds of shaking my heads right now. Enchantress is smoked up in the Dire Ancients with obviously the expectation that she was going to be able to gank, I guess, but it's with a Wildkin, so it's not really very good. First of all, the creep isn't really strong, and on top of that, the lane isn't even pushed out, so it's not like they're in a position to dive towers. So now she's just basically sitting there, just waiting for the lane to come back to the tower, and I don't know what's going on right now with Replika. I mean, it's just left and right. I'm really confused right now. Let's look at the gold graph. It's in the favor a little bit of the Radiant, mainly because of the Enchantress. But I don't know. I don't know. What do you think about that? I'm just so kind of befuddled right now.
Well, meanwhile, while she's been waiting for something to materialize here, which is, again, not really what's happened. I mean, they did do the pull. Oh, and actually, action is going to come now, but like I was saying, her creep is actually dead. The arrow completely missing, and actually, it looks like the Earthshaker is just going to die. 1 versus 3 in the tri-lane. Yeah, first blood actually taken by the Batrider before the Batrider dies. So, I mean, unfortunate for the Batrider that he had to die there, but well worth it. When you're against a tri-lane and you manage to get first blood against them, it's always going to be in your favor. And meanwhile, Queen of Pain is going to catch out this Enchantress. Enchantress probably going to go down here. Doesn't have Wisps, and Queen of Pain is going to be able to blink one time. Has a bottle, so we'll be able to bottle up and get enough mana to scream one more time, which is exactly what she's going to do, and she does pick up the kill. So yeah, that's looking really poor for Replika there. Like you were saying, first of all, yeah, if you're going to go for the gank behind the tower, first of all, you would usually like to have another hero come with you. Like, normally it would be something like a Vengeful Spirit, but even with your Earthshaker, you probably should have come with. But also, yeah, the Wildkin. Wildkin is a strong hero because that Tornado is completely overpowered. But as far as ganking goes, the Tornado isn't really the best. And when you have to sit there waiting so long that your creep actually dies, I don't know, it just wasn't very well planned. Meanwhile, the Miranas had to run all the way back to base, so it's actually just the Earthshaker sitting by himself in this lane. Once the Batrider realizes that this is the case, he's just going to start abusing him. He does have 2 points in the Sticky Napalm now. Had just opted for the 2 points in the Firefly, I guess, to deter the pushes. And is actually going for his treads first. A little unusual.
Well, up at top, actually, Cryaja's maybe going to go down. He's only level 2, but he has the full thing of Doom still on him. He might actually go down. He needs to be able to tango up again. But no, he's actually fine. He's still going to live with 90 health. That is a really big mistake, I think, by this top tri-lane. They, I don't know, he just decided to Doom, thinking he was just, I don't know, level 2 Windrunner, will definitely be able to pick up the kill. But, you know, if he didn't pick up the kill and he just waited for somebody else to come in, such as, you know, a tie downer, hit a simple gush, that easily would have been a great little pickup for them, and they could have maybe even pushed the lane a little bit and done a little bit of chip damage to the tower with level 2 wards. I don't know, I feel like that was just really just lazy play, pretty much. He saw an opportunity and didn't really fully just take account of how much Windrunner had and how much Doom would do, and I don't know, just felt kind of lazy. But it looks like Batrider, they might potentially jump on him here. I'm just keep waiting for them to try and hit that Earthshaker stun and arrow combo again, but I don't know, failed kind of miserably last time, and last time there were no creeps around. Actually jumped in, he has his ultimate, and completely missed that. Now Tidehunter and the Venomancer are going to be able to jump in here, but they don't have a whole lot, and Enchantress heal at level 2 is just so strong. And coupled with the teleports taking a really long time to go off, wasn't able to pick up that kill. So, again, a little bit of mistake, but at the same time, he, a failed 1v3 lane not picking up the kill, it isn't really that big of a deal. It's not really expected out of Batrider to try and get a kill, pick up kills anytime soon. Queen of Pain is now in lane, and with that, maybe they might be able to pick up something, but it's pretty much sure. Batrider has very little mana, enough for pretty much one nuke or a couple of napalms. And besides that, it's just pretty much all Queen of Pain, and I don't really think it's really worth it for her to sit here and wait for another hero. It just feels like a missed opportune time once again for ganks. I don't know, we'll have to see if it pays off here. Queen of Pain jumping forward, trying to jump on this Earthshaker, gets the slow off. Being able to hit one more nuke, and then she still has a scream. Scream goes off. Earthshaker's still not dead, and the heal comes out finally from Enchantress, but she's not healing the Earthshaker. Heal the Earthshaker, man, and now Queen of Pain goes down. Queen of Pain does go down.
Meanwhile, action at top, actually, the Windrunner was able to pick up the Doom, but is going to pay for it with her life, and so that's going to be a 1-for-1 trade top. Unfortunately, the Doom dying, which is the carry, so action all around, both side lanes.
Did you see how that, were you watching it from the very beginning? How does a level pretty much, what, I'm presuming she was level 4 before she picked up the Doombringer? How does that happen?
I don't know, I was watching bottom, I saw the heal not going to the Earthshaker, etc. It was a little bit too entertaining to, I didn't actually manage to see how it is, yeah, exactly. I really have no idea, especially since, I mean, it wasn't even like the tri-lane rotated bottom to go help. The Tide had TP down there, but he was actually still top, I think, maybe not exactly when it started, but around the time, and the Venomancer was definitely there, so it was at least a 1 versus 2 situation. I have no idea how it's possible to pick up a kill against the opposing farming carry, too. Oh, wait, actually, yeah. I know how. Check out his gold. He's going straight Radiance, it looks like.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that does make him a little bit squishy, and the fact that he died is just so painful, but really, you just can't let yourself get low. I mean, with 1,000 health, he definitely shouldn't have died if he was anywhere near, full health. So clearly he just got a little bit lazy and it was just a little bit too low, and Windrunner saw the opportunity and picked him off, which is a great job by Windrunner. Well done by Krasia being able to pick
Earthshaker, it looks like, is actually going to get trapped in between the Venomancer and the Tide here. Fisher is going to come out. Unfortunately, Earthshaker does not have his ult yet. If he did, oh wow, nice power shot actually from the Windrunner, and Venomancer has blocked himself down on the bottom of the creep. Is going to manage to pick up the kill on the Earthshaker, but that's actually going to be a double kill for Replika in exchange, so actually well worth it. The Venomancer reward, initially a really good placement to prevent the Earthshaker from running further up, but the Earthshaker wasn't so interested in that, and it ended up screwing the Venomancer.
Yeah, again, another great play by Krasia, being able to power shot, recognizing the opportunity, and getting down there very quickly. And it looks like mid tower is going to go down here, trying to hit the deny, but Batrider barely misses on that one. Now he's in a little bit of trouble, but as soon as he gets off the cliff, he will be fine, but the huge amount of damage coming out from Death Prophet with the phase boots is enough to seal his fate. That's just crazy. She's doing on like 100 damage a hit right now with those phase boots, so I did not expect that, but well done picking up a middle tower on top of an extra kill. Just all around, I see just this game right now is just a game of little sort of mistakes. I mean, Doombringer going down is a really big mistake. You can't really argue that. You should never die as a Doom when you should be getting all the farm versus a Windrunner who they did a pretty good job of keeping her out. I mean, she was level 2 like 4 minutes in, and so they obviously did a decent job keeping her out of lane. It's just right now it feels like both teams are just throwing a little bit.
Yeah, we'll have to see. This is actually the first time I've ever seen a Doombringer go straight Radiance. So, not even boots, just raw Radiance. I guess he's doing this because he figures if he can get the Radiance quickly, it'll really supercharge his farm. And this raid, he's on par for probably about a 13 or 14 minute Radiance, which is going to be quite quickly. Actually sees the Wolf Commander here, so I assume he's going to try to eat that. Right now he has the Centaur, which is really not very strong. When I first heard about Doom being able to eat creeps a while ago and gain their abilities, I thought the stun would be awesome, but it's actually just really difficult to hit because it's such a small radius. Oh, and action! Sorry, in the middle, you can take over.
Oh yeah, actually, Firefly going off and doing a lot of damage there, but missing the nuke. Completely missing on an Enchantress. Enchantress running forward, but she does get mobbed down by the Queen of Pain. She doesn't pick up the Batrider kill like she was hoping. Queen of Pain taking a bit of damage from Krasia and Windrunner. But now, huge play. RMC hitting a big arrow. Well done. Picking off the Venomancer kill. She is dominating right now, 9-7. So basically 2-for-1 trade there, I believe, in the favor of 4-4. So well done in that regard. So hopefully just, I mean, right now they're kind of losing the game. The Doom right now, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the Radiant's first build. I really much more like the sort of phase boots, Django's sort of tanky, fast build. You have a very fast movement speed. You're able to help out your team a lot more, a lot earlier. And you just chase down heroes with your natural tankiness. You're not a whole lot afraid of a whole lot. And you just chase down heroes and you just spam your spells over and over again.
Speaking of being afraid, it looks like Replika, knows exactly what this Doom is going for and wants to kill him before he manages to get the Radiance up. Smoke ganked up top, but actually he did already buy the Radiance. I mean, his gold dropped, and it was actually flying out to him on the courier. So a couple minutes, or a couple seconds too late, I guess, on that gank. Sorry, continue what you were saying.
No, absolutely. I mean, him having boots, him having no boots and no tankiness right now is going to be, I know that I don't know, it's sort of, I feel it's sort of a pub build right now. It's just picking up Radiance. I see it much more in these competitive games when Doom does get picked up, is to see him with these phase boost Django's coming into the game, wrecking kids because he's so tanky and is able to put out a lot of damage with his nukes early on. He gets a lot of farm really quickly and becomes a great factor in these team fights. And I feel like holding Radiance isn't going to really provide that. Yes, 60 damage per second in these team fights is great and everything, but he's going to get targeted, and he has no movement speed and no tanking whatsoever. He has 1100 health, which is great, but he himself has no tanking items whatsoever. So against heroes that are going to be able to provide slows, provide stuns, and then on top of that, a lot of damage, very quick damage over time in Death Prophet hitting a huge silence there, nice, coupled with the shackle shot. Now Doom is coming in with his huge lack of movement speed, and he's not going to be able to catch anyone right there. So they're not going to be able to pick up anything. So a nice little push coming out from Replika, doing a lot of damage to that tower, down to 500. And this whole entire time, they drew a lot of tension and teleports to top. The whole entire time, Mirana has been farming bottom. And that's exactly what Replika wants.
I have a question real quick. When you eat the Wolf Command, or the Alpha Wolf, whatever, don't you get the passive aura too? This means he has to have eaten actually the small wolf, not the big one from that camp.
Yes, he accidentally ate the small wolf. I was actually watching that, and I was like, why did he do that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Unusual. Yeah. Yeah, I guess just a misclick on his part, which is unfortunate because getting that damage ore is so nice. I mean, that generally, there are really kind of two creeps you'd want to pick up with a Doom. When you're talking about the build you are suggesting going, and I agree, I do think that is the best build. You generally look to grab the movement speed creep from the weak camp, and once you go Radiance on Dooms, you usually want to grab the Wolf Commander, Alpha Wolf. I guess it's called. God, I can never remember the name of it. I mean, the big wolf. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess he's gone for that now. I don't know. At this point, I still even would think that having the movement speed is just better. It's not like you're really going to be right-clicking heroes that much at this phase in the game anyway. So I think just having that movement speed aura, which helps your entire team, would just be a little bit more helpful, even if you don't go for Django's, which, like you said, is probably the optimal way to build Doom at this point. But we'll have to see if he can just farm up fast enough now that he has this Radiance. I mean, if his team maybe stacks up a few camps in the jungle. Unfortunately, two of the camps, both the medium camps in his jungle, are actually golems, which isn't going to be helping too much with the Radiance. But maybe if he can get some camps stacked up, can take them down pretty quickly with Radiance, now that he does have boots. I assume since he started with the Stout Shield, he will be looking to go for a Vanguard at some point. He's going to need that tankiness to come in, and obviously, and actually the Bat Rider looks like is going to, isn't going to get caught, but the Doom instead is going to get caught. And even with his regular boots now, he's going to try TPing, but it's not going to happen. The Earthshaker is going to land the Fisher just in time. The Enchantress Slow is there, and the Doom just knows that he's dead. There's nothing he can do about it at this point. Meanwhile, the Queen of Pain has an Invis Rune and a Haste Rune bottled, so maybe he's looking to set up something top if the people top spread out, but it looks like they're actually just going to want to turn this into a push, which I really can't blame them. There's not really a lot. Well, there is a fair amount to defend with some nice teamfight ultimates coming out from the Dire, so the Dire is actually going to look to come up top, and we'll see if anything comes of this Invis plus Haste Rune combo.
Yeah, I think this will be hopefully this will be Tidehunter will be able to hit a great ultimate here, because I really think this is the only saving factor in this team fight. And he might get mobbed down. He gets mobbed down before he even gets the ultimate off. And now Batrider is going in, targeting this Enchantress who has heal up, so he's not going to be able to do anything there. On top of that, he's taking a lot of damage. Queen of Pain throws her ultimate, but again, not going to pop anybody there. Batrider barely getting down. Now Queen of Pain needs to teleport, but the silence goes off. Great job by Skilla hitting that right before the blink goes off, and they pick up 3 heroes for free. Absolutely for free. Enchantress doesn't go down, mainly because she has heal level 4, and Batrider, who does damage over time, she has a heal over time, so he didn't do anything there. And now they're going to be able to push it very, very quickly. Ultimate on Death Prophet wasn't even used at all. She just spammed her nukes and silence, and she's not even using it for this tower. They might potentially go in and try and do a little bit of damage to this tier 3, or maybe they're just going to transfer to the middle tier 2. Actually, I think that's a much smarter choice. Clearly they're much smarter than me, because that is a much better choice. Mobbing down the tier 2 in middle is much easier. And no, she's actually spamming her spell some more, so now she has no more mana for her ult.
Yeah, unfortunately the huge line of wards from Venomancer are already set up there, or did kind of make it rather difficult for them to push in. So yeah, I don't know, this Doom build, I mean, in addition to being a pub build, it's kind of like a, you know, you're expecting a late game build, so you figure the sooner I get my farming item, like going for a fast Battle Fury, the faster I'll supercharge my farm and be able to, you know, be more and more effective as the game progresses. But when you're playing against Enchantress and Death Prophet, you have to expect some amount of push to be coming, and you have to know that when you have only, you know, 1,200 health on a extremely naturally tanky strength hero, you're going to have a lot of trouble. And he only has 1 armor, which is obviously his biggest problem. The reason we usually see Vanguard, and actually Queen of Pain looking to kill this Mirana bottom, but with the haste rune still not able to. Enchantress is in position now, but the haste rune has a few seconds left, so there's no reason that the Enchantress thinks she can go on the Queen of Pain. And yeah, Queen of Pain's just going to back off before the haste ends. So I don't know. I mean, it's not really that worth it. Even if you can farm a little bit faster, if you end up losing all your tier 1 and tier 2 towers, you're gifting the other team enough gold that even though maybe you are personally ahead, the rest of the team is going to be ahead compared to your team, which is really not going to be worth it. They're going to have to rely a lot on this Venomancer to basically be everywhere that Replika wants to be ahead of time, placing down these wards and preventing the tier 2 tower pushes if they want to hang on in this game.
All right, well, let's we haven't actually done this at all. Let's go over the items real quick. Windrunner is about to pick up a mech. She just needs the recipe. Enchantress, Urn, and mana boots. Death Prophet now has a pipe, phase boots, and Django, so she is very, very well set for these team fights. And RMC on that Mirana, she just picked up the Manta style on top of the phase boots, and has a lot of extra gold besides that. Batrider, halfway to his mech. Not very close. Doom obviously has that Radiance and Vanguard, and not a whole lot else for the 4-4 team. If it comes to team fights, it's very obvious who's going to be winning this. Unless Replika makes any sort of mistakes, they're going to be winning a lot of team fights if they force it right now. And I really think they should. They just need to push down the last tier 2 towers, ward up, get a lot of vision, and just keep on the pressure, and then they can do things like farm the opponent's jungle and take Rosh and that sort of thing. And once they have that little bit of extra farm and a Roshan, they're going to be able to push into the base very, very quickly. So hopefully they're going to group up and do that sometime soon. Death Prophet is now going to be able to maybe pick up this regen. A Queen of Pain could have had the opportunity to at least attack and kill the regen there. But forcing Death Prophet to ult is just as good. And now we're going to see a push into middle a little bit. Unfortunately, tier 1 middle tower is already down. So if anything, they really need to try and take bottom or top. They just need a little bit of extra gold. I mean, those teamfight items are so huge, and if Replika forces their advantage that they have right now, they could easily take this game, or at least make it very, very hard for 4-4 to come back.
Yeah, I'm just kind of perplexed by this Batrider build. I mean, I guess I understand that their team realizes they need the team fight items like the mech, and I mean they're getting the Djangos on. I guess we should just call it this, the drums on Venomancer. So, I mean, it shows that they're acknowledging that, and I guess they just figured that he's the best candidate for picking up the pipe. But it's really unusual. I really feel like it's not a very effective use of this hero. What's so strong about him, obviously, in the mid game is that lasso, being able to basically take one enemy hero out of the fight very early on and hopefully zerg him down, which really isn't going to be possible with this mech build. Normally, you know, you would expect to see a blink ideally a Blink Vanguard, or if not a Blink Vanguard, at least a Blink Force Staff, so that you can blink and lasso and Force Staff yourself out. But the mech, though, I don't know. I mean, he's just going to be pretty squishy even with the mech, so he's going to be a high priority target when he lassos someone to take down. I'm not sure the mech is going to be able to help his team that much when he's the first to die anyway. I mean, I guess if he's coming in a little bit later to lasso, since he doesn't have the blink anyway, it makes a little bit more sense, but I don't know. It's pretty unusual. But yeah, the Doom does finally have his Vanguard finished and is almost done with his phase boot, so he's going to start getting some core items. He's actually opted to go for Mana Burn as his creep ability now instead of the Wolf. But looks like the gank is going to come in here mid. The Shackle Shot is going to latch. Tide is probably going to go down, but should be able to get a Ravage off first. Ravage does hit basically all of the Radiant, but it's not really going to be enough. The Radiant's barely taken any damage. The mech heals them back up, and actually the Dire's just going to have to back up off because of this Death Prophet ultimate. But Doom is actually choosing to stand in and fight. The Doom actually up on the Enchantress is going to be enough to get the kill, but it doesn't really matter because they've actually lost 2, and they're going to lose this tower as well. So Replika doing what you were talking about, forcing the team fights, using their abilities and their hero lineup to their strongest, led off by a really nice Shackle Shot from the Windrunner to start things out. And even though there was a big Ravage, there just wasn't enough damage coming out from the Dire to follow up on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if 404 was ever actually able to initiate these team fights, it might go a little bit better. I mean, like you said, mech is a really mech pipe is a really oh, I'm sorry. I keep saying mech when I mean pipe. Pipe is a little bit odd item on Batrider. I think he really needs that initiation, and I completely agree. I mean, if he's able to lock down the Mirana, and then if Doom is able to lock down the Death Prophet before she gets her ultimate off, or they can go on the same hero. I mean, if they're just able to pop someone before the team fight even occurs and then just back out from there and, you know, pick up one hero and back, they can really delay the upcoming pushes coming in from Replika. But because they don't really have that initiation, they're just trying to use their items now for team fight. I don't really foresee this going well. I mean, they already have a Blink Dagger now with that push, Blink Dagger on Earthshaker, and then they already have their proper mech and pipe. So the team fight's going to go to Replika either way. The only real hope is for them to be able to pick off heroes. And I don't really see those items helping them out doing that.
Yeah, again, that's all the more reason. I think that, yeah, it would just make more sense to have the blink on the Batrider, but I don't know. I guess they're just afraid of getting pushed out. If Replika does group up and push instead of kind of split farming, then there is a risk of just, having the ganking items actually not really do anything at all. But, the Mirana has basically been split pushing this entire game, which would make her a really good candidate to pick off. I mean, it doesn't really matter how mobile she is, which is normally her strength in split pushing when you have something like a Batrider Doom combo, because obviously the Batrider blinking and lassoing into the Doom ult is going to be enough to easily take out the Mirana, or to catch the Mirana and then take her out, which it looks like is the type of thing they're maybe going to group up. I don't know. I thought they would actually group up and maybe try to gank this Mirana bottom, but no, instead they've just decided that they're going to group take the Ancients. Basically, I've seen the Venomancer in here for a while doing this, and obviously this is a good thing to do as a Venomancer, but quite unusual to see 2 of his teammates helping out as well. I guess they just understand how important it is to get the levels up. Tide only 1 level of Ravage right now, which is pretty bad for him. But yeah, I don't know, they're all grouped up down here, and they're really not being very efficient with farm. The top and mid lanes both have no Dire in them. Dire understanding that they need to defend this last tier 2 tower, and actually, wanted to group up for a Smoke as well. So Smoke is going to come out, and maybe this will be their opportunity to pick someone off. Unfortunately, they're going to get spotted from the high ground by this Enchantress. Enchantress could actually slow with her creep, and yeah, she's going to. And this is actually going to end really poorly for the Dire, because they're actually out of position now, and as the Radiant moves back here, they should easily be able to turn this into a favorable team fight.
Absolutely. Tidehunter goes a little bit too far, thinking they were just going to keep going and try and pick up this Enchantress, but they need it back now. The main source of damage, Mirana is coming in almost with the BKB. Dupe goes off on Mirana. She's chasing him away. Queen of Pain is going to jump on the Mirana. They're going to be able to pop her, hopefully, in 1-2 hits. Now, unfortunately, Death Prophet is just crushing kids left and right, easily picking up the Venomancer kill, and now the Batrider. So it's the 3 heroes down, and Mirana's only hero down. Queen of Pain throws the ultimate, but it doesn't matter because a huge ultimate coming out from the Earthshaker locks down those 2 heroes, and a complete team wipe in exchange for the Mirana. Top is being pushed in, and they're easily going to be able to go for at least a tier 3 tower here. Or Roshan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which isn't the best thing on Death Prophet, but I suppose the ultimate down, it's not easy, and especially since it's 26 minutes in, early revive time coupled with the fact that Death Prophet's ultimate is down probably makes Roshan a better candidate.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is actually they're going to have to give the Aegis to the Death Prophet. I don't think Mirana will make it here in time to pick it up. And I really, really dislike that. You know, Death Prophet's main source of damage for most of the game, past the very early game, is her ultimate. And there's never really going to be a situation where the Aegis is going to let you come back and ultimate unless you get picked off. Because generally speaking, you're going to ultimate right away. And then if the Aegis brings you back, you're just not going to be alive to do anything else with it. But unfortunately, since Mirana was the one person who died in that fight, still obviously worth it. You do have to give that to the Death Prophet. So, questionable usefulness, but I guess it makes it easier for Death Prophet to be a little more careless, not have to worry so much about getting picked off, because if she does get picked off or does get killed at the beginning of a team fight, she can always come back up and bring out that ultimate. So, not a complete waste on that hero, but still just not amazing. And it looks like they probably want to group up and try to take this last tier 2 tower here. They have a pretty extreme tower advantage, up 4 towers on the Dire at this point, and I mean that's echoed in the gold difference, and not just the kills. 10,000 advantage, and yeah, sorry, I was distracted a little bit by Mirana and Queen of Pain trading blows, but yeah, 10,000 gold advantage and 12,000 gold experience advantage for the Radiant at this point. So it looks like Replika is well on their way to forcing Game 3. And actually, what was Batrider doing all the way down there?
I don't know. I mean, I was kind of watching on the minimap, and I guess they thought maybe those two were going to be able to pick off some hero who's going to defend middle. I'm not entirely sure, but Batrider, needless to say, Doom was backing off, and Batrider kept going forward. And I don't know, just shaking my head right now. But the only advantage is, at least, that means that it'll take at least another minute before Replika is able to threaten another tower. They're very spread out right now. I guess they're just going to maximize their farm. Actually, MKB almost on Mirana. So they're probably going to wait for that pickup. That's going to be a lot of extra damage being picked up on their main DPS carry. But also on top of that, we're going to see Bloodstone being picked up fairly soon on this Death Prophet. And that's going to be a huge pickup. I mean, she's already going to die anyway. And then on top of that, she's going to have a very slow cooldown, and she's going to be able to give up a lot of heals. So really, she's not going to go down in these team fights anytime soon. Hopefully they can just target Mirana and, I don't know, pick off everyone else except for the Death Prophet, and then just be able to wipe her twice in a row. But I don't know, just the damage from Death Prophet is just going to be too much in all these team fights. So really, like I say, it's all going back to, can they be able to pick off a hero and then just back out? Just try and threaten pushes by being able to pick up and then forcing them to 4-on-5 push. And that's, I think, the only way that 4-4 is going to come back in this game.
Yeah, if you take a look, actually, the Doom has about, what was it, I saw 2 seconds ago, yeah, 421 gold per minute, which is actually basically what his gold per minute was in the early point of the game, right before he was able to pick up that Radiance, which generally is not how things work. Obviously, as the game progresses, your gold per minute on a carry should be going up, not stagnating or going down, and to basically have the same gold per minute at 30 minutes as you did at 10 minutes is really not a good sign, especially when you win a farm first item. It just shows basically how ineffective going Radiance first is, and why you basically shouldn't do it as Doombringer ever again. Or to the people out there who haven't done it yet, shouldn't ever do it. He is hopefully going to be able to take this tier 1 tower top, but at the same time Mirana is basically solo pushing down this tier 2 tower bottom, and tier 1 tower for tier 2 tower trade really isn't worth it. And yeah, Replika is definitely going to pick up this tier 2 tower now. Even with the Venomancer wards already set up there, it's not going to be enough to defend against this. The Mirana with the MKB obviously, and the Alpha Wolf actually coming in and going to provide additional damage aura, which is actually just going to make Mirana hit like a truck, hitting for 250 damage per hit, not including the MKB procs. And they're actually just going to keep pushing here, and base race does not at all favor the Dire here, but I'm not sure a team fight does either, so I don't really know what their choice is, but it's definitely not going to be the base race, because there's no way you're going to base race against the Mirana this farm and Death Prophet, so they're going to have to TP back, and they do. Unfortunately, they're not going to be in a great position here, because generally you want to be on top of the hill when the opposing team comes in. Death Prophet going to throw out a silence. Looks like they want to take down this Tide quickly. One impetus, taking away almost half of his life, sitting back at 400 now, so there's actually a big risk if he runs in. The Kraken Shell will not guarantee that he can get an ultimate off. Shackle Shot is not going to latch, and meanwhile Death Prophet is just standing in the middle. She knows she can die because she has this Aegis. Her ult's going to be almost over anyway. Meanwhile, Batrider actually pulling out the Earthshaker. Earthshaker not going to be able to get a Blink Dagger ult in, but it doesn't really matter. Two of the Dire almost dead, one actually dead, and the melee racks are going to go down. Even with the Death Prophet ult down, there's just too much damage coming out from the Radiant.
Yeah, and it just feels like spamming that Doom. Bat Rider's going to go down here very easily, and GG go next. So both teams taking each other out very convincingly. First game going to 4-4, and this game definitely going to Replika. So now we're going to see game 3, and hopefully we're going to see a little bit more competitive game, a little bit less one-sided game. So guys, don't go anywhere. We'll try and jump into this game to get the stream back up as soon as possible. Don't forget, I haven't mentioned this. Go ahead and join. I believe there's still an opportunity, not for this game, but for the finals that are coming up. Join the ESL's Steam group, Dota 2 Steam group. Put in the comments of the Steam group the winners for the finals. Once you figure out who the winners of this semifinals, figure out, make a bet on who the winners of the finals is going to be, and then of those winners it'll be randomly chosen who gets Dota 2 beta keys. So yeah, that's always nice. On top of that, go ahead and like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter, and follow us on the Twitch TV, obviously. And don't get anywhere near. We'll be right back.
Thanks for watching.